helping you to weather good and bad economies without putting retirement on hold. This is the Tumolo Financial Podcast with Ken and Nick Tumolo. Ken and his son Nick know that creating a comprehensive financial plan can align your hard-earned life savings with your retirement goals. Consider them your retirement architects. Now, the Tumolo Financial Podcast with Ken and Nick Tumolo.
Guys, as retirement gets closer, and a lot of savers, you might be looking at your 401k balance, especially after all of the great market gains we've seen over the last decade. You might be thinking to yourself, things look pretty good. Maybe here's what I'll do. I'm going to stop making my tax-deferred contributions, and I'm going to go all Roth on my contributions to my 401k now. Well, Vanguard is saying that that might be a mistake. So Vanguard says splitting our contributions between both Roth and tax-deferred, it can give us more income flexibility later, especially considering unpredictable tax rates. What are your thoughts on this?
It depends.
Okay. So as always, right?
It really
Unfortunately,
does.
it always is.
Yeah, I mean, for Nick, being younger than me, you're piling everything in just Roth.
Everything Roth right now.
Yeah. So being younger, someone like Nick is going to pile it all in the Roth. Whereas, unfortunately for me, it's latter part of, I'm almost there. I'm not at retirement yet. I'm only 54.
I was about to say, you act like you're this old person. You were 54 years old, Ken. Give yourself a break.
But the big thing is one, I'm trying to defer some taxes and I'm closer to retirement, so I'll be able to draw the money earlier than Nick.
Uh-huh.
So I'm actually mixing. I got some money going to the traditional side, tax deferred, and some money going to the Roth side so that the taxes are paid now. And that's pretty much with all our clients. It really depends. It depends on their situation.
Sure.
Give you a little quick history. Way back when a lot of our clients, because most of our clients are 59 and older, I'd say probably 55 and older. But the thing is way back when they started working, and that's way back when I started working, Roths didn't exist. And we were told, basically, save money, put it in your 401k. Guess what? When you're older, you're going to pay less money in taxes. That's not true for most people, especially people that saved in those retirement accounts. A lot of them are going to have a big tax issue. And it might not be day one of retirement. It might be when they turn 73 or 75, when they're forced to take money out, and all of a sudden their taxes go up by 20, 30, 100%, even worse. We had a case that a couple projected was paying $6,000 in taxes now. And then basically when they hit age 73, because of the amount required to come out, their taxes went up to like $40,000 in taxes.
No, annually?
Yes.
Wow.
Just because they're forced to take money out. So like when me and Nick are building out these retirement projections, a lot of it is looking ahead. So you look ahead to try to solve problems.
Okay.
And if we pick up things like that, then sometimes what we're doing is having them actually contribute to Roth and not contribute to the traditional. You're trying to get ahead of the problem.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's a mix. And like I said, it always starts with a projection. And we use that Tumolo Financial Retirement Checkup for that, especially for people that saved. I mean, we see the problem really blow up for people that save over $500,000 because the thing is, it has a snowball effect as they get older. But we do it complimentary for listeners, 860-854-3434, or visit us online at tfcheckup.com just to get a complimentary Tumolo Financial Retirement Checkup. You got to know your numbers.
Yeah. And the thing too is 401k versus using the Roth IRA is different. I still have some people mix that up when they come in. They'll be like, oh yeah, I can only put in, I think, $8,600 this year into the Roth.
Okay.
And they start talking about the Roth 401k. I'm like, no, that's not true. That's for the Roth IRA. The Roth 401k, you can go up to the max in a 401k. So if you're above 50, it's over 30,000. And then you got the little extra too between 60 and 63. The one caveat is though, that they just came out with, depending on your income level, if you're doing the catch-up has to go to Roth now. So
the catch-up has to go. So you have to, after tax money goes into the Roth, if over 50 for the catch-up contributions.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, for the catch-up, and it depends on your income level too.
Okay.
That they make you do it. So there is some caveats now with that. So just so you guys know the rules and regulations, but I'll even give you two stories. I actually had one that I had him do Roth contributions now, and one that I said, no, it doesn't make sense. So it's really timing. And then we like to look short and long term to these things when we build out that complimentary Tumolo retirement checkup. So 2 examples. First person, he was retiring 5 to 7 years from now, never put into the Roth. And he had a big RMD issue for this one already. And he's 5 to 7 years from retirement. So I'm like, yeah, one thing you could do is you could retire early, but he loves his job. So he's like, I'm probably going to work those 5 to 7 years. Yeah. So yeah, it makes sense to start the Roth at that point, because the Roth, it has to be in there for 5 years off of your first initial contribution to get the full tax-free benefit. So for him,
another tiny rule. I mean, all the rules that are involved. Please continue.
All caveats. Yep, exactly. Okay. So because of the time frame and because of the RMD issue and his salary right now, like I said, there's all these factors when you're building this out. And see, this is why we say it depends a lot. It really does depend. For him, I was like, let's start doing the Roth contributions. And where he was in the tax code, he's going 100% all Roth. I didn't even mix up any 401k or anything like that. And then I have another person where they're 2 years from retirement, never started a Roth because of that 5-year rule. And because they didn't have an RMD issue, I was like, it doesn't make sense to start Roth. Let's think about doing Roth conversions when you get in retirement. Your income drops. So you got more room to do those Roth conversions, which is a different thing instead of the contributions that we're talking about right now. But for them, it was, we're not going to do Roth contributions right now, and we'll think about it later doing conversions. So it really does depend on the situation. That's why we say building out that Tumolo retirement checkup is crucial to kind of see the short versus long-term effects. So any of our qualified callers want to give us a call to get your complimentary Tumolo retirement checkup, our phone number is 860-854-3434. Or go to our website at tfcheckup.com. So yeah, I mean, that's the big thing with the Roth. It's just making sure that short versus long-term effect. I mean, yeah, age matters too. Like my dad said, I'm doing it. Most of my clients' kids, I tell them almost every single one, I'm like, go all Roth. Because most of them are under 40, because most people we work 55 to 70. I have not come into a caveat yet, but there probably will be a caveat with a 20, 30-year-old. You know what? Doesn't make sense to do Roth for you, but haven't come across it yet.
Yeah, I haven't either. I mean, and Nick, really, if you're not picking up on it, the Roth is a huge tax tool. At the end of the day. And you just can't say, oh, Ken said or Nick said, I need a Roth. You actually got to figure out the numbers to make sure it actually makes sense for you.
Right.
Otherwise, you shouldn't be doing it. And it's got to give you an advantage. That's the best way to put it. And this was probably about, I'd say, in the tax piece of it that we always run into with parents. So husband and wife came in, and listeners, they were in our East Berlin office, and I'm sitting there talking to them, and we're talking about what they saved. And then you start to talk about kids, because you want to figure out, okay, well, down the road, what are you going to do? Because you're going to have a big pile left over later. And this couple right out of the gate, right when we started talking, like, yeah, we don't care about our kids as far as passing money on to them. They care about their kids.
Of course.
They don't care about passing money
Right,
on.
of course.
And they basically, look, we raised them, we paid for college, we even helped them out with a house. So they did a lot for their kids.
Yeah.
And they go, basically, we want to spend all the money. I'm like, okay, good. But then what if you don't spend it all? What are you going to do?
Right.
And they're like, it's their problem, the taxes. They could just deal with all that. We don't care. And basically, first meeting, when we gathered all that information, I saw the numbers. I'm like, there's going to be stuff left over. So built out the retirement projection, the retirement checkup. We had them come back, sitting in the meeting going over it. And the crazy thing is, because they actually had pensions with social and they oversaved. And by the time they were 90, and I'll say it, I'm not telling you names of the people.
Okay.
But it was over $2 million left over when they were 90.
They both, you said they had pensions, so there was 2 pensions.
Pensions coming in,
2 Social Securities, and they had saved well. I mean, kudos to them, but
yeah, they just basically just did an excellent job.
Yeah.
And so what I did, I took an extra step, because sometimes with the tax piece we will, especially if there's a big issue like that, just to show people. And with them at 90 showing that there was over $2 million left, then I showed them with some tax planning. And so what would pass on to the kids if they do nothing was roughly, we'll just call it about 1.6 million would pass to the kids because 400,000 would just go to taxes. Okay. With tax planning, it was roughly 2.3 million that would pass on to the kids.
Wow.
And what would pass on to taxes at that point was only about 150,000.
Wow.
What it was conversions over time, managing draws, not doing everything all in the same year, just spreading it out over multiple years. The power of planning. And so, and our tax code is fun. It's a puzzle.
Fun for you.
Like doing it.
I'm so glad that you say that, because anybody listening to you on the radio right now is like, did that guy just say the tax code is fun?
I know it's a mess, but that's where me and Nick, we have fun doing it. I mean, now we get into the team meetings with other advisors and we're kicking around ideas, and some of these big cases like that where they're going to have a big tax issue, it becomes, you got to come up with something. It's like a puzzle, but it doesn't go together the same way a puzzle does. So it all starts with Tumolo Financial Retirement Checkup, complimentary for listeners, 860-854-3434, or visit us online at tfcheckup.com. I don't know, Nick, did you want to add anything more on that?
Basically, it's going over that short versus long-term effect. Does it make sense to do contributions versus conversions, or does it even make sense? That's really where it gets to. I mean, I was just thinking, I had one more person where they're sitting in the 12% tax bracket right now. They're 1 year from retirement, don't have a Roth, and I'm probably not even going to do conversions with them. Looking at their plan, they don't have a huge RMD issue. They're not worried about passing on money to their kids. And most of their IRA money will get drawn down by the time they get to 90. Okay. If they live that long, that's where we draw it out to. So for them, it was like, you know what? I'm probably not going to. Maybe we do some small ones down the road, but in their sense, it didn't show that there was a huge advantage to it. So like I said, sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it doesn't for people. So that's why the Roth, it could be a good or a bad tool at times. Usually good though, because it's tax-free. So you can give us a call. Once again, our phone number is 860-854-3434 for your complimentary Tumolo retirement checkup, or you can go to our website at tfcheckup.com.
Investment advice offered through Tumolo Wealth Management, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Content contained herein should not be construed as an offer or solicitation for investment advice or for the purchase or sale of any security, insurance, or other investment product. Please consult with a qualified financial, tax, accounting, or legal professional before implementing any ideas or strategies discussed here.